The value of people being able to see their records is foremost the fact that it is incredibly empowering. A lot of people are frightened by the NHS. They're usually there because there's something wrong. And I think the fact that you have access to your own patient record means that you know what you're talking about when you're talking to doctors, and you know what your history is.
In regards to my medical history, obviously in the past 5 years I have been under a number of different medical institutes, shall we say. Some have been NHS, I've been at Broomfield and I've been at Ipswich. I've also been at Charing Cross, which was obviously a big pilot scheme for the PKB initially, and was the key to my cancer journey.
It's better to have direct access to the results because you can look at them again and again and again, and it makes more sense seeing them in front of your eyes rather than just a number on a phone call.
It is really useful to have those all working together to be able to put the results onto one platform so that I can assess any results that have come through the private and from the NHS kind of background together in one place.
And you can also see the history. Now, I can't get history off the doctor unless I made a note of each time so I could plot a graph. But PKB gives you that. There's the graph. You can see how many results you've had that you're happy with over the last 6 months, a year, 2 years. You can spot a trend. You can't get that on a phone call with a doctor unless, as I've just said, you make notes to build up the history yourself. PKB does that automatically.
Your life can change in a blink of an eye, and I think that having access to that, you suddenly need to have all of this knowledge overnight that you didn't need to have before. And I think if we can make people more knowledgeable about healthcare in general, not just health, but the healthcare system in general, it would be so valuable for all aspects of the system, for patients, for doctors, for nurses, just to make things more accessible to everybody.
I think that it's important that if you're not at home and you've got an ongoing chronic condition and you get a recurrence of that condition, whatever it might be, and you need medical help, that the person giving you that help can see what the state of play is.
I think it's vitally important that you've got your medical notes with you. You're able to take them with you on your mobile phone, or you can access them, or if you end up in hospital in an emergency, your carer or your partner can bring the data with them on your phone, especially if you've shared it with them.
So once I was empowered with my results, I stopped. I said to my oncologist, "Why am I coming in to see you?" And he was like, "Well, you're coming to get your results." And I was like, "But I've got my results in the app. I don't need to see you. I can read the results."
Being able to share your medical notes and your medical history with the scientists will enable them to look at Parkinson's as a whole.
My community named pharmacist has access to my PKB, and she loves it because she has a lot of information. And again, I keep coming back to the same point, but she can see all the substances I take. And my community pharmacy is also responsible for providing my flu vaccine every year. So they also, she can see that there is a good reason why I've asked for my batch number and everything, because it's there in my PKB.
If we take prostate, which is the thing I know about, my GP, and I'm in a group practice and I might see a different GP every time that I go, has probably not much idea of what my acceptable level should be. So if they see a blood test that is within range, it's within range, that's fine, but it's not fine. So from my point of view, it's great because I can explain to them that my number shouldn't be 2 or 3. But from their point of view, it's also good because they can take early action.
Being a local resident, it is really important to have access to your notes. It means that you can take control of your own body, your own health. It's also saving a lot of hospital time. not having to ring them for results constantly, having all of that to hand. So I absolutely am an advocate for PKB. I think it is fantastic, and I've loved having access to everything of my health record.
You know the doctor's stressed. You know that they only get 10-minute appointments. You know that he can't do the kind of things that you would want to do, that you can get extra information from PKB or the National Health or various other, British Heart Foundation, for instance, or kidney organisations. It's there to go and look at. You can't ask these questions to the doctor, and the information's there on PKB.
It coordinates, it reinforces the collaboration between the community pharmacist and the patient. And that's very important, because more than ever, community pharmacy is the front line for healthcare.
Having patients know best and having access to my data, but also being able to access my consultants at literally any time through the messaging system. If I'm going, let's say, to a GP appointment, because there are things that you can't bother St Mark's with. If there's anything minor, you're going to have to go to your GP. But I think having patients know best and being able to show my data to them and say, look, I have access to this, or my consultant has told me this, it just gives me more confidence as a young woman going into an appointment like that to be taken seriously.
And first of all, jokingly, he said, but Bobby, what if all my patients were like you? And I said, you need them to all be like me so that you can spend the time with the people who haven't got the good results, and you need to discuss their next stage treatment, or whatever it is that's available to them. And he suddenly realised, 3.5 years in we are now, I email him, I say, I've had my results, it's all fine, and he's like, great, and we just have a little bit of chat, and that's it, just an email, and I don't see him.
Patients do know best. You know best about your own body and what's happening to it. So I think it's a jolly good name.